Let me show you this headline from PRRI, which is a research organization mapping Christian nationalism across the 50 states. They basically did a survey where they asked people about their thoughts on Christian nationalism. Basically, the idea that you believe conservative Christian values should dictate our laws and you want to infuse Christianity into everything we do. And the results they found basically showed that the Republican Party is going to keep ignoring the Constitution and church state separation, but they will double down on the false belief that we were founded as a Christian nation and that we should be governed by whatever conservatives claim are Christian values. And I would just like to add, the same people who say this, they don't give a damn if their own leaders violate all of these values. Whether we're talking about affairs, corruption, whatever the hell Ken Paxton's doing today, Donald Trump has violated all they don't care. You can't call them out on hypocrisy because they don't listen. They don't think the standards apply to them. That's before we get into anything involving Epstein. So anyway, these people love Christian values unless you apply it to them, in which case, fingers in their ears, they don't care. Here's one thing when it comes to parties. So let's check this out here. Who's more likely to support Christian nationalism by party affiliation? Let's start with this at the very top, how they organize this. They didn't just say you support Christian nationalism or not. They grouped it into 5 categories. The one over here is rejector. I absolutely reject Christian nationalism. Hate it. The blue is good. We like that side. Then you have the skeptics. Maybe they don't like Christian nationalism, but like it sounds okay, right? Christian values are good, right? So maybe they're skeptical of it. There are some people who don't know. But then over there on your left, you got sympathizers. They like the idea of Christian nationalism. And then you got the adherents, the ones who are die-hard, I love Christian nationalism. And if you look at the Republican Party, the second line down, what do you see with the adherents and the sympathizers? You have 56% of Republicans openly support Christian nationalism. More than half of the party is right up there behind it. And that is frightening. Right? Like, that means conservatives, that means the Republican Party very much is now catering to just the most extreme group of religious extremists at this point. Anecdotally, that sounds right, but that is scary. Another thing to point out here, there are, where am I pointing? Right up there, 6% of Republicans who actively reject Christian nationalism. And it's like, well, that's nice. Why are you a Republican then? Because they don't care what you think. And also, if you look down here, 5% of Democrats are like full-blown Christian nationalist adherents too. Why? What is happening there? I know this happens in every survey where you have like the 2% of atheists who are like, I believe in God. It's like, I think you're confused about something. Those people are always out there, whatever. But by and large, you could see Republicans are a Christian nationalist party. Now, here's another question. Where are they? What media do they watch? Who's more likely to support Christian nationalism based on the media they consume? And this is interesting too. Among people who watch Fox News, right over here above my head, Fox News, okay, no surprise there. What is that? 55% of Fox News viewers are Christian nationalist supporters. But look at the row right above that. Then you got the far right news. Apparently, if Fox is too liberal for you because you like your Newsmax and the like, among those people, it's 65%. Like, though even extremists, Christian extremists, have found their news channels. Yikes. If you listen to talk radio, then you're also more than 50% likely to be a Christian Nationalist supporter. And then, where do you find the sane people here? Well, if you don't trust the news, trust other news sources. If you watch YouTube or listen to podcasts, you are less likely to be a Christian nationalist supporter. If you go down, I was actually surprised to see social media lower on this list because so many of the biggest social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, are like such far right crazy buckets. And yet, if you get your information from social media, you're apparently less likely to be a Christian nationalist. And if you know how to read and you like to read because you can handle words, more than a couple hundred characters of words, then you're definitely less likely to be a Christian nationalist. I guess what this is saying is if we could get America reading again, we would be a much smarter country. So that is interesting as well. Here's another thing I found really interesting. You know, the Bible Belt is going to have its share of Christian nationalists too. But if you look around the country, where do you find the biggest percentage of Christian nationalist supporters? And there's a couple surprises on this list. Like, Arkansas is the state with the biggest percentage of Christian nationalist supporters. 54% of people in Arkansas support Christian nationalism. Texas, not so much, 38%. That's a lot lower than I think the media would have you think, which also suggests Texas, as many Democrats have said, is not a red state. It's a purple state. It's a non-voting state. There are not nearly as many hard right Christians there as you would imagine. I know it's hard to see the rest of this map, but like, which state do you think has the lowest percentage of Christian nationalist supporters? I'll give you a second. Massachusetts gets the win there. You could see it at the top of this group right there. 15% only. If you are a Christian nationalist, Massachusetts is probably not the best state for you. And there's one more thing to show you here. How does this play into their politics when it comes to policy and violence? Look at this question. What percentage of people agreed or said that because things have gotten so far off track, true American patriots may have to resort to violence in order to save our country? Among the strongest adherents of Christian nationalism, holy crap, 30% of Christian nationalists say, yeah, we might have to get violent to save our country. And the scary thing to me about that is, by the very virtue of being Christian nationalists, you know they're gullible. You know they'll fall for any line of bullshit you feed them. So it would not be hard to tell them, hey, there's a Somali immigrant over there. And that's all it'll take for them to grab a gun. Like, that is frightening to think about. Obviously, people who reject Christian nationalism also tend to reject political violence, because of course we do, because we're not crazy people. So, also interesting. Is there anything else to show you here? I think there was one more thing here. Oh, yes. Here's the question. Do you think President Trump is, number one, a strong leader who should be given the power he needs to restore America's greatness? Or do you think he is a potentially dangerous dictator whose power should be limited before he destroys American democracy? Well, how did that go down? Among Christian nationalist adherents, right up there, my God, 73% of Christian nationalist adherents were very supportive of the idea that we need to make Trump a dictator. He needs more power. Let him do whatever he wants. He's a king, right? We like kings in this country. Meanwhile, if you reject Christian nationalism, over here, then yeah, you want to limit his power. Not to do anything you wouldn't do for any other president, but because presidents are inherently limited in what they can do. That's by design. So, Christian nationalism is really bringing out the worst in so many people. And what boggles my mind is those people, they're Christian nationalists because they claim they love America. They want to bring it back to its founding, what the founders would have wanted, which is Jesus, apparently. But in the process, they're trampling over the Constitution itself. They want to burn the Constitution to show just how much they love the country. Someone make that make sense. So, what do we do with this information? I would argue that I think this puts pressure on Christian pastors who are losing their grip on their own congregations to speak out against this stuff. Like, are you interested in preaching the message of Jesus? Or do you just want to become an extension of the Republican Party because that's what you are becoming right now? It can't be both. Those messages are in contrast to each other. And if pastors are unwilling to call out the cruelty being done in the name of their faith, and many of them have, and credit where it's due, they have so many opportunities to call it out under this administration. If you can't bring yourself to do that because you think it's off brand or off message or whatever, guess what? You deserve to have your religion hijacked by political extremists who love waving around a Bible they've never read. But I also think this data shows us that there are so many more of us who reject it entirely. And we need to band together to defeat the scourge of Christian nationalism because it's the best option for everybody, including Christians. And that means filing more lawsuits against this administration in coordination with groups we may not agree with on a lot of other things. It means voting for candidates who take strong stances against Christian nationalism or using religion as a weapon. That means defending Muslims when they're being persecuted by the Trump administration. That means demanding politicians who don't talk about this stuff pick a damn side. James Tallarico did it when he did his censored interview with Stephen Colbert a week ago. He said Christian nationalism is not Christian in any way, and rejecting Christian nationalism is not anti-Christian. You can be a person of faith who opposes what ignorant bigots do in the name of your God. And the irony in all of this is that America in the past several years has become more diverse, less religious than ever before. That's why I think Christian nationalists and the extreme supporters of it are clinging to power any way they can. They are losing their grip, so they're trying to control whatever they can. They'll do whatever they have to do. If that means destroying the Constitution, so what? They don't care about that. Like, they will give up anything they need to give up that they don't actually care about. You want to take the Bible? It's not like they care about that because they cannot actually convince people. They can't persuade people to join their side. That's why they are waging wars, real and symbolic. We saw it happen in Kansas where they just took away trans people's driver's licenses. We're seeing it with Trump potentially starting a war in Iran to get attention off of whatever shit he's up to this week, right? The Constitution is unambiguous when it comes to religion and politics. There's no religious test for public office. There is no national religion. There's no loophole that allows a politician to preference one faith over another faith or faith over no faith. And yet more than half of Republicans now openly embrace the opposite of that. Like the flag wavers and the Bible enthusiasts are the least patriotic people in the country. And they're also really bad Christians by their own standards. Like, they want the 10 Commandments to go up in public schools, but they will pass legislation to enshrine their Christian values in the law. But they excuse all that behavior when it happens to someone in their tribe. Was it Tony Gonzalez, the representative this week, who had an affair with his aide, who then took her life? And now he's like, I'm not resigning. I didn't do anything wrong. And Mike Johnson's like, we can't make him resign. That would be a bad thing. Why? Because they care more about their slim majority than actually living up to any of their stated values. Oh, anyway, I think I will stop there with this one. What questions we got here? Thank you for becoming a member. YouTube and social media is interesting to me considering how much crazy fake shit is on them. No kidding. And yet, I mean, I've seen this myself. For people trying to get out a progressive ideology, YouTube and social media are among the only places left to do it because you don't have the airwaves, you don't have talk radio. So it may be the only option we have left right now. But it would be beneficial to the world if we were all taught about identifying logical fallacies. But religion and climate change and vaccine denialists would fight it tooth and nail. Yeah, logic doesn't play into their favor. But I mean, even if we don't teach logical fallacies, the same people who support vaccine denialism, climate change denial, etc., they don't go after logic class. They'll go after history. They'll go after English class, and they'll want to ban books. Like they're doing it in other ways. The number of adherents who say patriots may need to use violence isn't higher because they don't believe in political violence or they feel confident things will go their way. Yeah, that's a scary thing to think about too. You don't need violence if you rig the elections, right? Like, that's what Trump seems to be relying on right now. What if we pass a bill that makes it harder for some Democrats to vote? Then we don't need to be violent. We may be politically polarized, but we're not evenly split. Many more of us favor democracy over Christian nationalism. That is accurate. There are more of us than them. We just need to get out and vote in record numbers for good candidates. That starts with the primaries, by the way. I already voted in Illinois. Our primary doesn't end for a couple more weeks still. If you're in Texas, go vote. But do it now. Do it early. Get it done with and locked in. Do not wait until election day.